It's Rog. It's Friday, the end of another week of Euro America 2024 Summer O Football. What a week! Ending with a banger. France nil, Netherlands nil. No goals, but a lot of bitter boiling thrown in the air with some controversial decision making, which we will discuss. And we're here to do it live. Presented by our friends at BMW. We'll talk about the big game, slightly underwhelming, but the others. Ukraine, a profoundly emotional come from behind victory. Austria also beat Poland for the first time in over 30 years. Tonight we've got the Copa, Peru versus Chile, a tournament which is going to have to live up to this Euro. It's a bit like a younger sibling whose older sister just got into Harvard. And we'll talk, about England, top of their group and bottom of the nation's affections. Canada, Jesse Marsh Revolution will be televised. We'll preview the big rumble. The one we are all waiting for with joy and wonder and a little bit of fear. The United States and those Bolivians. La Verde, managed by Pablo Escobar. No, not that one. And I am elated to welcome back to the show to talk about it all and take your questions. The one man who can essentially, I think probably the only man in the world who can handle all of that because he's such a unique and remarkable footballing fan. Developed a nasty addiction to stroopwafels while falling in love with Dutch football back in the day. He loves England and, of course, the United States in a way that would outstrip even Kid Rock. It is a joy to welcome back my friend, co-creator, star of Ted Lasso, just a brilliant OG football fan. He's the Daniel Sturridge to my Alexi Lalas. It's Mr. Brendan Hunt.
Hi, Raj. Hi, everybody. Here we are.
Have you been enjoying the Hoop Hey Vet? Isn't that how you say hello how are you in the Netherlands?
And hoe gaat je? I think would be more
with a flourish,
more casual. Yeah. Hoe gaat je, man? Kom op, ja. Fijne dag.
You sound like who's that Fox pundit, the German person? I bet you sound just like her when you say
Ari Hingst.
Yeah, you sound like Ari Hingst when you.
Don't get me started on Ari Hingst. Don't get me started on Ari Hingst, Raj.
So let me move you on and just say, Brenny, you just watched the France game. I believe you're probably 30% made up of that fine Dutch liqueur, Geneva, as we speak. But you're with your Dutch support network, right? Your Dutch supporting peoples.
Yes. I was in Holland because I worked for a theater called Boom Chicago, and there's not always, but often a little mini Boom reunion around some of these games. So Josh Myers had some people over. My Ted Lasso co-pilots Jason and Joe were there as well. My baby mama, for whom I purchased a Dutch jersey just for this tournament with a Jan Maas name and number on the back because I know she doesn't actually have an emotional Dutch connection. She at first was going to wear, and by the way, I love her beyond love. There's no questioning that whatsoever. But she thought it'd be cute to wear her LAFC Olivier Giroud jersey. And I was like, babe, come on. I mean, besides the fact that I literally bought her a jersey specifically for watching this tournament, but you don't be the one person in an LAFC jersey. And she's like, oh, fine. And so she puts on the Jan Maas jersey. And then we get there and a different friend shows up in a Olivier Giroud LAFC jersey. So I guess we were doomed from the start, is the point, Raj.
As long as she wasn't walking around in a white headband with "Who cares" on the back, I think you're winning. You're winning, Benny. We're going to dive into that game in 1 second, but I just want to say to those watching along, this is a Do It Live, which means you, dear GFOPs, are a major part of the show. Come be with us. Ask us your questions about football or life, or Brenny's baby mama football jersey decision making. Here's how you do it. Scan the QR code in the top left of your screen. Take you into a Zoom with producer Tony, the sweetest man in the world, and he'll get you up to ask your question of the great Brendan Hunt and dull old Rog. Come be with us. It's audio only, so do not be afraid. We'll get to the questions later in the broadcast. Slap your questions in the chat too. Give us a like. We'll rock it. But I want to start with a toast. Raising my third first Michelob Ultra of the day to Mr. Jesse Marsh, who last night played his first competitive game as Canadian manager, and Wisconsin breaking the news. You've just been annexed and are now part of Canada, the whole state. The Canadian performance, yes, a 2-0 defeat. Brenny, I don't know what you thought about it, but I thought it was audacious, fiery, aggressive, high risk, high reward, as impressive really as Jesse's ability to belt out the Canadian national anthem so quickly after joining. Positivity, fearlessness, fun. And to watch it was to feel alive, which is what I think football is ultimately about. And yes, Canada have not yet scored under Marsh. That may come next Tuesday night against Peru. This Canadian team, I've got to say, of Alfonso, Maxime Crepeau, and the quite electric Jacob Schoffelberg. I think they're going to be one of the youngest, freshest faces of a brave new Canada. What did you make of it, Brenny? The concrete pitches, the terrible refereeing, the delightful CONCACAF chaos. It was magnificent. Right?
I mean, like, it's really nice of CONMEBOL to honor the fact that they're holding a tournament in a CONCACAF country by having CONCACAF-style refereeing. That was
amazing.
I mean, after, whatever it's been at that point, 12 solid games of refereeing, fairly solid games of European standard. It was like, oh right, this shit again. Okay, all right, here we go. We'll manage expectations. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if matches were only 45 minutes, Jesse Marsh would have 3 points by now, right? It's been 0-0 at every halftime of his matches.
That sounds like Brendan Rodgers kind of logic. We won the possession, and if matches were only 45 minutes long, we'd be undefeated. I just marvel at it. I do. That referee last night, it wasn't just his decision making terrible, but he was like on one. Like when there was a little tussle with some of the players, he was the one like stepping. You want some? Yeah. I just more of that, please. Just more CONCACAF chaos in the Copa. The difference in the Copa, albeit off one game, that's a bit of a small control group, and the Euros is just delirious, and I love it all. Alex L. Is that Alexi Lallis in the chat? Says, just left Amsterdam for Dusseldorf this morning. Oh, better football atmosphere here in Germany. The Dutch are just riding around on their bikes while consuming huge amounts of dairy. God, that sounds like an incredible life.
Because they're not the host country. That's not even fair. That makes no damn sense, Alex L. What are you talking about?
Damn you for not having the same atmosphere as the place which is actually hosting the thing. I don't know, but we are. By the way, we're living in remarkable times. Euros by day, with its ecstatically attacking football, banging goals, mesmerising fan pageantry. Copas by night, with its prison rules football, played on concrete carpeting. The refereeing that we just talked about, the commentary time lags, which was that's just an incredible touch. Just having the
hold on.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, okay, all right. So there's a time lag. So what you do is someone in some truck somewhere thinks it up before it comes into our homes. That's inexcusable.
Why would they do that? They're all consumed with trying to break up the fracas between Sturridge and Lallis. There's fracas.
Oh, they're not trying to break it up. They're trying to feed that fire. We know that well enough. In fact, I'm sure the direction right now is like, hey, Danny, why don't you punch him? If you get the man, just punch him. The snide looks aren't enough. But seriously, a 3-second lag is absolutely inexcusable. It's not supposed to happen. That's the reason why you televise sports in the fucking first place.
I loved it. I thought it was very good because it was like watching the game and like watching a documentary about the game at the same time. I was just like, oh my lord, it's just amazing. They've already made him 30 for 30 on the game.
So it felt like bonus coverage. Yes. It felt like the Manning cast at the same time as watching the actual game. All right, I'm coming around to it.
It felt like I was watching the game live with my own eyes and then a 30 for 30 at the same time. I was multitasking. And it was magnificent. I can't, honestly, the Copa is such a shit show and the Euros is so ecstatic and I love them both. I really don't know which I prefer. We are just so blessed. I will say it's an incredibly long day of football, starting 9 a.m. Eastern time, clocking off at 11 p.m. I was so shattered by the end of last night, like almost psychedelically altered. I honestly started to believe, watching the post-game show, that Alexi Lallis might just be Will Ferrell playing one of his most subtly complex characters since Mugatu.
If only Lallis were fictional, that would be great. If only he could rip the mask off and like, it's been Ferrell all the time. No, sadly,
He is though. He's playing a role just like Ferrell. But I realised there is like a Ferrell in the heart of him. It's just like it's almost like Andy Kaufman used to play characters. I'm starting to believe Lalas is just a feral character, a statement of our age. I'm going to work on that one. We'll keep talking about it, but we got football to talk about. The Netherlands 0, France 0. In your language, Nederland 0, Frankrijk 0. In your mother tongue, Brendan, did I get that close?
I really want to applaud you for your choice of Dutch words, like the actual, like, what word am I going to try to say? Your pronunciation has been 0% every single time, but that's fine. That's fine.
Consistent. I mean, really, when we're breaking this game down, the most delirious parts were the pre-game. 40,000 Dutch fans marching 2 miles to Leipzig. By the way, for Dutch human beings to own a city in Germany, it must feel deeply powerful. There's still a deep, complex relationship between the two nations. GFOP at Eric Guthrie 07 tweeted us, approach your life with the zest and zeal of Dutch football fans. I think you're right, Benny. What you said to me live on stage in LA, you said there's something about this Dutch infectious joy that the Dutch emit that's connected to their choice, their almost absurd choice of orange, the color of carrots, pumpkins, sweet potatoes, clownfish.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wearing orange, you don't even notice. But if literally everyone around you is wearing orange, it's impossible to be in a bad mood for more than 5 seconds. Like, it just cannot be done. It's incredibly well thought out by them, as everything by them really is well thought out. But also, if you're gonna lean into a war analogy, how about the Dutch don't step up in Germany, and who suffers? The Polish. That's exactly what happened again.
Wow. If we don't know our history, oh my God, Robert Lewandowski is doomed to repeat it. Is that what you're telling me? By the way, another orange thing that I think about when I watch these Dutch fans is the cast of Jersey Shore. But in a similar way, I also admire the giant oversized cockerel that the French celebrate on their... By the way, French kits are always exquisite. It is remarkable to me. Like, you look at what Nike produce for, let's just say, other nations. I'm not going to go into which ones. What they do with the French is always next level. But it is such a funny animal to decide that's the one we're going to march behind and announce ourselves to the world. The coq gallois.
Yeah. I mean, I dig that, like, Nike is trying to make the symbols bigger on every shirt, but for some reason, the golden cock of France really, really stands out. I mean, never so many times during a soccer game have I heard people go like, "What's with the rooster?" It was really like, it's been there for every French game you've watched before. Yep. Everyone didn't notice it until now. Yep. All right, that's not your fault. That's fine.
The golden cock of what did you say? Of France.
I thought it was implied.
That's the euphemism. That's the new nickname for LAFC fans for Giroud. I think we've just gifted that one to you. The golden cock of France. I actually looked it up when I was quite bored around the mid-second half. Goes back to the revolution, the cock. I'm sure you know this, Brenny. It's a symbol of the French people.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the play on words, which I guess if you are French, you'll understand. The Latin gallus, meaning Gaul, obviously, and gallus, meaning cock or rooster. The coq gallois, the Gallic rooster. Flag puns are the best puns. My God. But that cockerel, it always is like the same plumage as Antoine Griezmann. He's beautiful. Story going into the game. Mbappe relegated to the bench with his broken boo-boo nose, wearing a mask, a bit like William Shatner in The Masked Singer. How would France live without his goals? Oh my God, we found out. Dude has never scored in the Euros, as Lalas loves to remind us, but he did score for fun in qualifying, including many against the Dutch. And without his pace, front three of Griezmann, Thuram and Dembele, the French had an early chance. Rabiot flicked in by Thuram with the goalkeeper and goal at his mercy. I mean, this was a very odd thing in the moment. Decided to not shoot. Why would he? When he could dump the ball off with a frantic stage fright to Griezmann to fall over it.
Yeah, while falling down himself. It was a very curious moment. And Rabiot had another one of those later, which we'll get to. Not quite like that. But it was really like, this is France? This is France doing this? This is literally comical.
A lot of people in the chat defending US. I was only implying the US kits. I didn't actually say it was them. But Bjorn Stromvest in the chat says, have the French ever had faux denim? I don't think so. It's a good point, but there is a reason for that. By the way, I love how Landon Donovan says, He says Rabiot like Robbie Earl every time. He kept saying Rabiot. And I kept thinking Robbie Earl was playing football for France, which would be just as ecstatic as John Strong having a time lag and the past and the present fusing before our footballing eyes. The Dutch, though, had space on the counter, really. Gakpo sizzling alongside the unleashed Jeremy Frimpong. The Leverkusen flash of speed made a difference. I think inside 60 seconds, your Dutch boys, very fearless in the opening. I mean, just 1-2ing their way up the gut. You must have been buzzing.
It was pretty exciting to see Frimpong in the starting lineup. You know, like he's nipping at Dumfries' heels for that right back spot, but he's just so energetic and dynamic. You know, you go like, oh, this is gonna be one of those times when a coach tries to put in two right backs on different side, and it hardly ever works. And Koeman is so conservative, but bless his heart, he did it. And I think Frimpong is probably the best performance in the pitch for the Dutch, really. And of course, didn't amount to much, but that was an exciting first 35 seconds.
Yeah, it was. You felt like, oh my God, nothing can go wrong now. But then Koundé started to flicker. He fed Turan to beat the offside trap, smashed the ball high and wide. But then the game, second games, by the way, oddly in tournaments, they often do, kind of settled into an inertia. Almost felt in that first half, Benny, fear of losing kind of overwhelmed anybody's desire to win. It all went a bit England-Denmark.
I mean, I wish you told me that 2 months ago, because I've had this circle on the calendar for a very long time. And then it's like 20 games this tournament have gone by with no scoreless draws. And then fucking England, France at 9 p.m. on a Friday shits the bed. For Christ's sake.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It's a fascinating thing about this tournament in that the games which are meant to be bangers are crap, and the games that seem to be crap on paper, and by that I mean the ones that Fox in their wisdom decided to sublease to Fubu, have been absolutely, just ecstatic, can't miss, just feasts of football and life itself.
Yeah, Georgia, Turkey, I think both Poland, Austria, and Ukraine, Slovakia.
And the big A, don't forget the big Albania. They are like Brazil 1970.
They are. Yeah, that's what's shocking about it. Just like every single game has been intoxicating, except this, the biggest clash of titans the tournament has had so far.
Can't miss, should miss, don't watch, have to watch. The second half, both teams came out with a little bit of intensity, if not application. The quality of the finishing, honestly, permanently at Everton settings. In this one, Griezmann with his beautiful hockey lettuce, missed from close range. Chouameni, repeat offender. Kante buzzing around the field. By the way, Kante and Ronaldo, I realise, are a bit like live golfers at every major tournament, trying to both win for themselves, but also prove the competitive merit of the Saudi League. When I watch Kante just running around, it's like watching a tiny French Bryson DeChambeau, and it is utterly ferocious and magnificent. But I've got to get you to the BMW moment of the match. The Netherlands had the ball in the back of the net. Xavi Simon rifled the ball low and hard. But then we saw there was a flag up. Denzel Dumfries right by the goalkeeper. Was he preventing his dive? Was he affecting the play in an offside position? Xavi had long since finished his knee slide. Here's what I want to know. Were there many beers thrown up in the air at your Dutch supporting party? Thrown up in vain, Brenny?
It was only 1:15, so no. Someone might have knocked over the Cheez-Its, but other than that, it was fairly tame. And the flag went up quick enough.
There was chaos on the cheese board.
It was, but the flag went up quick enough that we were all like, And then one of these. How long did anybody clock the VAR of it? Was it 3 minutes? Was it 17? It was far too long, and I know it's been whispered, hushed tones talked about, there needs to be a time limit on VAR. Like you get 1 minute or 2 or 90 seconds, after which the referee comes and looks at it, and we get this over with. It was dumb how long it took. Besides the fact that I disagree with the call.
Yeah, I want to get to this. It was the biggest decision of the tournament, so of course it had to have a bloody English set of officials doing it. Anthony Taylor, front centre, poor bastard. Stuart Atwell, another of our friends, was on the VAR. And he kept to the English standard that we are used to by taking forever. I mean, it took as long for him to make this decision as it took for Argentina to get back on the field after the halftime break. For a second, honestly, it felt like we were watching a chilly blast of the Premier League blowing into the joyous Euros. Can I get a truly objective Brendan Hunt ruling on the decision? Though, was it good process, lads? Was Mannion impeded, or was he never getting to it?
As it was suggested by, I think, Landon, he was never getting to it. And the proof is the fact that he didn't fucking try. Like, if he had dived and collided with Dumfries in the way, that's fine. But he didn't even try. He went like, and it was a bailout. I think the announcers were also correct that if it had been called a goal, it would not have been reversed. It just was a little too close to do anything. But like, that was gutless to not let it stand, I think.
I think VAR didn't overrule it. I think they stuck with the original decision on the field. They
exactly.
said it was not an obvious error. It was a wafer-thin decision. I think a stroopwafel of a decision, as they call it in the Netherlands.
Okay, only because you said it twice. I got to let you know. It's stroopwafel.
Is it really?
Stroop, yeah. Two O's is not an O, it's an O.
God, ignorance. I mean, the ignorance of the English is they try and master of a language.
Curiosity.
I've really been working. I've been watching 5 football games a day, and I'm trying to master another language on Duolingo, and that is so it's stroopwafel is what you're telling me.
Stroopwafel. Hey, it's all right. We can't all be Derek Ray. You know, like we all do our best.
Oh my God, Derek Ray, by the way, I think he does not like football. I think he only loves football. A bit like George Bush II wanted to be president only as a stepping stone ultimately to try and be Major League Baseball commissioner. I think Derek Ray ultimately only really cares about football as an opportunity to master and dazzle with etymology and linguistic flair. That man is a genius.
He's incredible. His devotion to pronouncing names correctly, and like usually it's languages I don't know, so he's just kind of like saying a weird word, weirder to me. But then he hits a Dutch name that I know is hard to pronounce, and he crushes it. And I'm like, oh, that's what's happening. God bless you, Derek Ray. Way to go.
By the way, Ray would order stroopwafels as if he was born not outside of Aberdeen, as if he was born on a little dam, on a little canal boat in Hofenkijken, right down by Eischen Robin, as
not
he
a real
probably
place.
pronounces it. But by the way, I talked about this the other day. You know this, right? That when Derek Ray came over to America, he was one of the first MLS commentators. And whoever was broadcasting MLS said, you know what, we really can't have, English, British people, Scottish people, whatever, commentating on our game in their language. Can you do an American accent? And he did. For the first 2 years, he commentated Derek bloody Ray. I bet you Derek Ray actually said, what kind of American accent do you want me to do? Do you want to, and they would play like Texas. He was like, what part of Texas? I bet you that's how he went. He was like, I'm always going to give you an American accent. You just tell me which region you want.
Yeah, we doing John Ford, Texas, or Richard Linklater, Texas? Either way, he's got it.
Oh my God, Derek Ray doing Stoner Linklater, Texas would be incredible. If you're taking requests, Derek, God, do that. By the way, I do love you. This is so you. You let me off once when I murdered the word stroopwafel. But then you pronounced and tasered me on the second mispronunciation. I love that thing.
If you're going to come back to it, well, then, I got to stand up for my not actual people.
For your culture, for your faux culture. Karina Lopez in the chat says the B-side of the Euros is the best side of the Euros. It's true. The outtakes, honestly, always the best parts of movies. Rest of the game petered out. France and Mbappé-less old man skulking around on the bench, man in the Iron Mask style. I think he'll be ready to go against Poland in the final group game. France will need him. 180 minutes into the Euros. Not a single French player has found the back of the net because the first game it was Wöber, the old Leeds player from Austria. His dismal own goal, the only French scorer. 7 games with no Mbappe. 7 games without a win. They will need him back. I do wonder after that performance, I don't know how it works. I think they will destroy their national team in the way the English do the French.
I'm sorry, destroy their net. Oh, just the press wise.
Yeah, just say 2 games now, no goals, insipid, our midfield, our blah, 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 our finishing. Do you think that, or would they be like, don't worry, we know what we're doing, we've been there before, let's act like it?
I don't know. I guess we gotta ask Derek Ray. Like who knows how to read the French newspapers? I don't know, man.
Derek,
Le Monde,
Le Soleil. Do you think they have a newspaper
Le
called Le
Soleil,
Soleil? It's
Le
like
Soleil, Le
chunky.
Monde, La Parisien Tribune.
The Daily Mail. Didn't they have these outlets that just shit on their own players? But anyway, we talked about the weird thing about the Euros. Big games, crap games, amazing. But can you tell us about your Netherlands? First 0-0 of the tournament. It had to be your boys. Sum up the day, their future, their fate in their hands still. Austria, though, quite spicy. Hot apple strudel summer, baby. How you feeling? Give us your synopsis.
Still feel like they can win any game against anyone, and they absolutely cannot win this tournament. Basically, they're just too limited. Again, I'm over Memphis Depay. I can't remember which announcer said this, but I sent it to you as soon as I heard it, which was oh yeah, it was Landon. And there's the latest giveaway by Depay. Okay, well. Memphis, yeah, it's not working out. And with wingers, the kind of wingers we have, like maybe just put Weghorst up there anyway. Like just give them a focal point to go to. I'm always on thin ice when I dabble in tactics. But
can we just say that the who cares touch, the flourish on the headband? That's a very preemptive. Very preemptive. I mean, I'd love to have been in that conversation when he decided not just to wear the headband, not just to wear the headband with his number on it. But then the flourish, the who cares flourish on the back. I mean, that's quite a move. It's quite a decision. It's like preemptively, like you can criticize me, Landon Donovan. I'm sure that's why he did it. Thinking about Landon Donovan, exactly. You can criticize me, Brady Hunt, but like, who cares? I've already got there. I don't care.
What's the really? I remember when Arsenal didn't sign Mudryk. And I felt like some pity for him that he was ending up at the developing burbling mess that was Chelsea. And then I saw a picture of like what tattoo is it that he has right here? Anyone have this off the top of their heads?
Oh my God! You know what? I will get that. I'm obviously just thinking about.
It's not no regrets. We're the Miller style. But it's almost as bad, and it makes you go like, oh, well, great. I had a fun time. Feeling sympathy for you, and now I'm done. And that's exactly what the who cares does. It's like, all right, Memphis, I'm behind you this time, buddy. Let's go. Oh, who cares? Well, not me then. Not me. So we don't need him in there. Weghorst has proved some worth. He's not a traditional Dutch player, but fuck it. Weghorst is the way.
I love it.
In fact, Weg means way. So let's do it.
Does it really?
Oh. Weg, yeah, way.
Weg. It's pronounced Weg. You said it twice. I've got to call you up on that. It's pronounced Weg. But by the way, I do love that. The Memphis is essentially going to walk away from this tournament and then start his own leisure wear brand. It's called Zero Shits. It's just like have that attitude in life. Zero shits. Bro.
All the pants are white because he's so confident that you'll take zero shits in these pants.
Can I tell you, that was one of my favourite lines in the whole of Ted Lasso. We've never talked about this. Was when just for no reason, Ted comes out of the bathroom, or was it you that came out of the bathroom and said 12,722 consecutive days without what was the line?
Without any droplets on my khakis.
Zero shits. God, that's just such a great line. Wait, I love that. Mudryk's tattoo is talent ain't enough. That is I don't know what to make of that one. Talent ain't enough. What does it tell you? Is it him throwing in the towel, or is he saying he's got more than just talent? Again, Memphis's tattoo on his lip, which is successful in Dutch, still cracks me in every single regard. I actually think that Paul Mudryk was trying to manage expectations. And talking about Mudryk, other games today: Ukraine 2, Slovakia 1. Game played under the shadow of war. Slovakia, I'm sure you all know this, listening at home, initially supported Ukraine when they were invaded, offering Kiev use of its air force. But then a year ago, the nationalist Robert Fico took over as Prime Minister, slashed aid to Ukraine, allied himself with Hungary, whose Prime Minister Viktor Orban has been Vladimir Putin's probably his greatest cheerleader outside of Russia in Europe. Fico was shot twice last month, survived the assassination attempt. I mean, this is some backstory to a game of football, which Ukraine actually at first seemed desperately inept, conceding amidst slop and a sense of doom set in. But the goal almost brought them to life. Ukraine came back, I think, was it 4 times in qualifying when they couldn't even play at home. Never write this team off. And the same here, a comeback that was sealed in the 80th minute by Valencia striker Roman Yaremchuk, who brought the ball out of the sky and rolled it home to cue scenes of wonder. Yaremchuk broke down in tears after scoring, and the scenes of glory honestly made my heart sore. This was a victory, so much for the war-torn nation and its players. The comeback means both Ukraine and Slovakia could qualify if they win their final group games next week. But football, Brendan Hunt, it's always best when it transcends football.
Yeah, and the scale of what this must mean to the Ukrainian supporters is impossible to quantify from where we sit. But within that beehive of torment for Yaremchuk to have this moment of football brilliance, like it was Bergkamp-esque. As soon as I saw it, I was thinking about Argentina, the Argentina game in '98. Not quite as far and not quite as driving a shot, but the control was just magnificent. Absolutely stunning. Stellar work by him. And obviously everyone's got to root for Ukraine.
God bless. I mean, every single moment is just a symbol of freedom. I can't believe on this show 1 minute we're yucking it up about Derek Ray putting on a stoner Texas accent. The next we're giving geopolitical lectures about Fico.
In the middle, we speculated on Memphis Depay shitting his pants or not.
Zero shits. By the way, I do think the zero, having spent a lot of time in Ukraine, in Donetsk for the 2012 Euros, I do actually think the zero shits brand will be very popular across Ukraine. They love that kind of crap.
Good.
Yeah,
Great.
Zero shits, motherfucker. Poland 1, Austria 3 in Berlin. A dizzyingly intoxicating game. The sides were level at half-time. Austria capable of playing some truly incendiary football. They can be fantastic. Christoph Baumgartner, I adore him, 24-year-old Leipzig player, scored, ran off to hug coach Ralf Rangnick, obviously a man who has his reputation mauled at Manchester United, but has been delirious with this Austrian team. Didn't show up on the stat sheet that Arnautovic, that dummy on the goal, almost deserves an assist. Szczesny then made the ill-advised decision to bring down Sabitzer with his face. Did you see that, the penalty concession?
Oh. I haven't yet. I was in the car returning from my follow-up appointment of my gum surgery, Raj. I had a gum graft last week, and I've had I basically every moment we've spent together this week, including now, I've been in a low haze of mouth pain, which is why we drink more.
Yes, yeah. If you
double agony.
Not just the agony of hanging out with me, but you've had gum surge.
Last week. But today I had my follow-up, and it looking good.
You definitely, thank God, you definitely shouldn't look at this. Szczesny essentially brought Sabitzer down with his face and got yellow carded for it. It was very, they're rarely attempted, and don't try it at home, kids, the face foul. Arnautovic then stepped up to take the penalty, and the big man, he started sobbing after scoring. It was a beautiful moment. Arnautovic has not always been seen as a player that's fully committed to the craft of football. He's not always, he's probably made more money from football than he knows what to do with. To watch his tears as he charged towards the Austria fans, you just see how much this tournament means in a way that's more than money. There's nothing like it really in American sports. The identity, the representing something bigger than piles of cash, Brenny, that makes it. This is a very commercial tournament. Don't get me wrong, but at its heart, there's something beautifully naive about it.
Yeah, when these these athletes, these hulks, get reduced to the tears that are connected to when they were just little kids in their countries. It's always we don't get it in the disarming to see.
We don't get it in the Gold Cup, Brenny, enough. I don't think. We'll work on that. We'll work on that. We may get it in the Nations League. I'm not sure.
God, even CONCACAF countries don't dream of the Gold Cup. Oh, man.
Yeah, by the way, that was whoever decided to call it the Gold Cup. I mean, it's just like name to be given later. We couldn't think of anything. We just went with God. We got to work on that. Maybe by the end of this tournament, we'll come up for a better name for our Euros.
It's a sign of how behind soccer is in this country and continent that America's Cup, we were beaten to the jump on America's Cup by fucking sailing.
Don't get me started. By the way, Brenny, I think we may have just named the Gold Cup. CONCACAF, our lawyers will be in touch. I think we should call it our Euros. I think that's it. Get on it.
Our Euros.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boys. Our Euros. New and improved Euros.
It's almost a palindrome.
Yeah, I love it. That's the tagline. Our Euros. Hey, it's almost a palindrome. They'll be able to use that in the marketing materials. You're welcome. Poland eliminated after the France-Netherlands draw. Which once again, take no pleasure in dusting it off, makes true the story I always tell about the Polish approach to World Cups and Euros that I wrote about in the Encyclopedia Blazotanica, told to me by a Polish waiter in London, who told me we Poles have a defined rhythm to the 3 group stage games at every major tournament. Match day 1, the opening game in which everything is possible. Match day 2, the must-win game in which our team's very survival is on the line. Match day 3, the game of honour, in which the results are irrelevant because we're already eliminated. So at least I got that to look forward to, Brenny. The game of honour against France.
It's nice. It's nice that things are on schedule. I mean, but the thing is, like, France could get knocked out here. No, they can't. Never mind. They won the first game. Forget it. All right. Sorry, Poland. Have fun. Good luck. Good luck with the honour.
David in the chat says we should call the Gold Cup the He Believes Cup.
Yes,
David,
done. Print it up.
Yeah, we're sold. We're just up to tournament design now, for a trophy design for the He Believes Cup. It's got to be something that Martinez, the Argentinian goalkeeper, could probably hump in the He Believes Cup.
It has to fit on a dick. That's the most important thing for a modern football trophy.
That's amazing. The He Believes Cup, preferably a palindrome. Make the trophy fit on the dick. By the way, we're covering a lot of ground in this show.
People are listening to this, right? People are here. Wow. Okay, great.
We're solving a lot of footballing problems. We need to talk quickly, talking about problems about England. 24 hours in. By the way, there's a poll in the chat for game of the tournament so far. Go and vote. Smash that like while you're at it. England, 24 hours on, after that 1-1 loss to Denmark yesterday. Top of the group, Brenny? Yes. At the same time, the nation is also in meltdown. Everyone is freaking the F out. Gareth Southgate is starting to suffer that tabloid media giving him a proctology exam with the world watching. How do you think about it, Brenny? Because this England team hasn't even been given the chance to be built up before it's been knocked down.
I generally think Gareth Southgate is one of the English sports figures who was given an undeserved amount of stick by English media. But and I haven't checked the Guardian website today or anything. But what the fuck was he doing yesterday? Like pulling out his entire front three. It was a panic move to me. Like, that was absolute insanity, and he's very, very lucky they didn't lose. So I don't know. I mean, he's smarter than I am. Perhaps he saw something that had to be taken care of. But we're approaching indefensible category, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, you texted me. I started to think the whole thing by Gareth Southgate was some performance art. We're going to find out later. He's the first endorsement influencer for Memphis Depay's Zero Shits leisure wear. And this is all just some piece of, I give zero shits about the England national team. But he's the only English, you said the only English player whose reputation has gone up in this tournament is?
Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
That game made Harry Maguire look like a goddamn genius. What a mess. What a mess.
It is. I mean, it is a mess. Ultimately, international football is all about the following conundrum. Do you pick a system that fits your best players, or do you select the best players available to suit your system? And Gareth Southgate's trying to do a bit from A and a bit from B. He's jamming his best players out of position into his system. and the results bewildering. You've got a team in which 3 elite players are left to flounder out of position that they excel in the Premier League. A right back playing at left back, another right back playing centre mid, 2 potent creative midfielders playing deep. Everyone else trying to just essentially cut inside from the left to find room. I had a new thought overnight. England have rarely played great football. They've really thundered their way through tournaments under Southgate. They've done it by Maguiring at the back with goals from set pieces and penalties, which is kind of like how they're rumbling away here. The thing that's changed is really the context, this tournament, because other teams, they're playing like suddenly sizzling attacking football. Germany, Spain, and England are almost playing by the old rules, and those rules have changed. You could say Southgate looks like crap for doing what he's always done, but the game has kind of changed on him.
Yeah, I feel like he's had more tournaments now than anyone here, but Deschamps, I think, right? And for him to not have developed along, and to him to be, as you say, playing so many guys out of position, like what is happening? What have you learned in this time, Gareth? Anything? It's baffling to me, but what the fuck do I know?
God, I just realised Gareth Southgate is going to be the next United States manager. I've just realised that's how it goes. Someone in the chat, David, says, I love your country, but your media makes the pyjamas you play in way like chainmail. David, I'm American now, which is a lovely pivot from one team who the nation always expects to do their duty to another. The United States, because Brenny, I don't know if you got the fever, we're just 48 hours away from our beloved US men's national team kicking off their Copa journey, which we both just know is going to end in glory. Am I right, Brendan?
That's how it goes, right? Every time. Yeah, for us, yeah, especially in Copas. Yeah. And with laurels everywhere, it was tripping over those laurels because there's so many laurels all over the place.
Laurel City.
Crackling. And there was like a health warning put out by the California Board of Health because of all the Copa fever that people are feeling out here. It's in the air. It's contagious.
It's got high Copa fever. Is it rates of Copa fever? Is that what it is at the moment out there in California? May just be the gum disease kicking in, but it's US Bolivia Sunday 6 p.m. Eastern time on Fox Proper. Do we agree that we're going to be essentially playing them and then Panama and then Uruguay? It would be a shock. We'd be shocked, wouldn't we, if the Americans fail to escape from this group stage?
Yeah, if we don't get out of the group, there's big trouble. There's big trouble all around. But also like manage expectations. Like it would be so much easier for everyone if there was just a big win against Bolivia and authoritative brushing aside and everybody could relax. But remember, the first rule of tournaments, the first games will be weird. First games are always weird or often weird. And your only job really is to not lose them. More so even than to win them. So everybody cool your jets a little bit, but hope for the best.
God, by the way, at the end of this US Copa journey, we will have learned so much about US soccer and everything that's possible. What's our true weight class? Where do we fit in? What are our ambitions? In the Euros, we've watched Georgia, Slovakia, Albania, the Big A, take the field without fear, play clinical, collective, joyous football to soar. Benny, why not us? Why never, ever us? It can be us, can't it?
I should think so. I mean, what a lot of those teams have is like player continuity. They've all known each other for a very long time. And like we have that right now. These guys have been through many tournaments together from a very young age. They're all close to the same age for the most part. So if not now, when, so we just got to see. I'm fucking excited, as people should know, because we have no qualification for 26. These are our last meaningful games, outside of next year's He Believes Cup, brought to you by No Shits Athleisure, which barely counts. So yes, this is the last best measuring stick, and I sure hope we meet the challenge. I got a feeling we're gonna do all right.
I have just interviewed this week Tyler Adams Josh Sargent, Joe Scally, all those interviews are up on our YouTube. Their goal, they all say, is to win it, which is so positive, so joyous, so dreamy. We can talk more about it if there's questions. I do want to get to the questions, but last one for you before we pivot into them. I did some research this week while I was learning my languages and watching all the games. I managed to do more research, and I uncovered that the national dish of Bolivia is the salteira, which I think, to me, the way it was described, it sounds amazing, but essentially it sounds like the Bolivian version of an empanada. If the Bolivians are in the chat, correct me here. Will you have your Big Macs are better than salteira sign with your Brenny? Because I think that may be the difference between winning and losing. Or are you going more James Beard in your football food bands?
Oh, no, I'm going funnel cakes. I'm going mint chocolate chip ice cream. I want my processed confections to be up front in the food bands.
Oh, come and have a go. If you think you're hard enough, you're trying to take off funnel cakes. Oh, I fancy our chances. To your questions quickly, a reminder of how this works here on YouTube Live. Just scan the QR code in the top left of your screen or click the pinned comment and enter the chat. My producer, Tony, the sweetest man in the world, will tell you everything you need to know. And don't worry, you won't appear on screen. Or you can just ask a question in the chat and we will read it out. Smash that like button. Let's start with the mighty David from Los Angeles. Oh, you've told us where you're. Where in LA are you, David? And tell us what your question is, you beautiful human being.
Hello, Raj. Can you hear me?
David, we hear you loud and clear over.
Perfect.
The blue moon rises at midnight. Where in LA are you, baby?
Los Angeles. Like the heart of LA, not far from Culver City.
We've got you located. I always feel better when I just know where your beating heart is. You're very close to the Brenny. Maybe you even share gum doctors.
Maybe. Actually, my beating heart is French. Je suis français as well.
Oui, oui.
I'm a dual national.
Yeah. Olivier Giroud.
And actually, just real quick, I do remember that we did play the Netherlands twice in qualifying. So I did think that this game would be a little bit tough because we were familiar with each other. But my question, Raj, is actually because I listen to the French media, L'Équipe RMC, and there is a debate going on in France of performance versus the result, meaning winning only matters. And you were saying how your media hammers your play. We criticize our players. You guys hammer your players. Not like us, but we do go after them. But I think because France has been to 6 finals and won 3 in the last, since in my lifetime at least, I think that people are more like, well, we've won, so now we want it to look good. Anyway, thank you for taking my
don't go, because we got questions. I love you too, David. We can answer that question 1 second. But Brenny and I were chatting earlier. Like, is it like a French tabloid media? We don't even know what your media landscape is. Do you have like Le Soleil?
There is.
Do you have Le Daily Mail? Do you have that?
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. But I think that, and the players get criticized too, but I think that Deschamps' relationship with the media is so hard-nosed and contentious, but he manages to keep everything so controlled, and they complain about that, but his ability to keep the team safe is one of his many. I don't agree with his style. I know everyone thinks that France plays this beautiful style, but let's get real. France are the most pragmatic international team on the globe. But yeah, he controls it. He's very good at protecting his team, Raj. And I think that, I don't know, but your media is very different. I don't know. The way you guys hammer your players, they're either the best in the world or they're complete utter garbage.
My media is the American media. We're very sweet and soft on our players.
And your tribalism too comes into it, everyone, Man United fans are going to be like, Rashford's not on the team. That's why we're losing. And it's like, that's not why you're losing. Your team is so good. Like NBA All-Star USA levels of good.
Oh.
I don't know. Anyway,
David, I'm an American fan, and the American media is.
I know,
USA. So I love it.
USA.
God bless.
USA.
The English media, though, which I am not part of, and I do vaguely remember from my time there, growing up as a youth. You're right, is incredibly caustic. But what I'm taking from this, Brenny, is the French media. Them crapping on their players is L'Equipe giving you a 5 out of 10 in the match ratings. I mean, how do you understand it? Is really the question that Dave is asking about this. The French media, the English media. By the way, the American media is so generous. The American media is so. We're all in it together. We want this game to grow, so we really don't crap on the players. And I mean, the say, "Oh, Greg's going to get it now," and then we just forget it. And we kind of move on. It's the sweetest, most positive, most joyous football media that I've ever encountered in the world. But the French and the English, how do you understand? I don't even know if you know the Dutch media, what they're like.
Well, everyone in Dutch media thinks that they are a manager and or could be, and they're often right. Like they often have a very deep understanding of tactics. Simon Cooper, the fantastic football writer, once said, what was it exactly? Everyone in England thinks they could play for their local football team. Everyone in Holland does. So it's a very high level intellectual discussion all the time. But I certainly don't know what the French media are saying. But if David is suggesting that the French, who again have won 3 tournaments since 1998, are make it pretty, that's okay, guys. Yeah. What do you need?
God, that is so funny, though, that the loathing of the English media comes from them not winning anything. I don't know. I mean, the English media are very much a reflection. Football in general is very much a reflection, just a mirror of the society that surrounds it. And when I used to go to tournaments when I was a journalist, I found it fascinating to watch the different media, how they behaved. It was just kind of complete. It's like a completely different creatures. Like the English media, literally, it was during the Roy Hodgson days, and they would, first question to whomever and he'd get the microphone and just destroy Roy Hodgson. Do you think you are an idiot for just completely and utterly still playing John Terry, even though he's sucking the ball back, he can't move anymore? And Roy Hodgson would very politely be, well, here's my thinking, and he'd answer it. And then the second person would be like, don't you think you're an idiot? They pre-planned the attack. They'd already decided who was going to get it. Rooney's not going to get it this tournament. We're going to blame it. We're going to pin this. We're going to pin this on Roy. And they just, every question was the same question, really angry. It was astonishing. And Roy would just sit there, take it, and then the next person would get the microphone, destroy this man. And then I went to the Italian press conferences, and they were in minutiae of tactics. As Brendan was talking about the Dutch press, it was like everyone was smoking little cigarettes, everyone had tiny little coffee cups, no one was shouting, which I thought was really strange and odd and unusual. But they were asking these deeply, deeply complex tactical questions, and it was stressful for the coach in a different way. It was more like entering a PhD class, whereas the English press conference was a little bit like closing time at the pub when everyone's just trying to get another couple of pints down very quickly and then go out into the street and have a good old fight. The Spanish one was different again. So each media really was a reflection of their culture. But I love your theory, David, that ultimately French are used to winning things now. Because I remember the French in the 80s when it was
La France qui gagne.
La France qui gagne.
Petite France.
Yes, the petty France, the France that felt it was too small to actually. They loved 1980. They loved Platini. Noble failure was what the French
Raj,
loved.
when France won the World Cup in '98.
Yeah,
my mother was. I'll never forget. My mother would live in LA, but my mother cried. I didn't understand it at the time, and to me it was just a sporting event. But now I get it because they won it, recently, and I was a lot older. But it hit me so hard. Understanding and she's don't understand. When I was a kid, we would struggle, and Platini, c'était mon joueur favori.
Yeah. We make socks out of potatoes and darn them. I mean, it was tough. It was hard. I preferred the France.
The Battiston thing.
David, I preferred the France who didn't win things, but. What we're really talking about, you're leaving this on a cliffhanger. What would an England that win things look like? Would they still be angry? I do not know. We may never find out the solution to that. No. God bless. David, may
Thank you
we
so
one
much.
day
I
have
love
a
you.
angry football media in America, and that's when we'll know we've become a truly normal football country. Two very quick ones before we wrap up. In the chat.
Shout out to Ted Lasso.
Hey, David, I love it. The most American-sounding Frenchman. Can we agree on this? Who's on the back of your shirt, Brenny?
My man Virgil.
The demigod. I don't know which version we'll see of the United States. I want to see them play like Spain '08 or the international pragmatic football team you need to be. Can you discuss from this American team, do we want beautiful football or winning football if you could only choose one?
Are you asking me? Oh, winning.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just win stuff. Like we have this unique position where we are, a huge country with who are an economic power, but who don't have anything to fucking prove. Like just go win by whatever means necessary, short of 80s style German diving. That will probably not help grow the game in the long run. But no, just do it. Grind out 1-0s left and right. If there's a trophy at the end, everybody's happy.
God, that'd be amazing if they just keep playing terrible football, grinding out 1-0 wins, but go all the bloody way. God, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. You were talking about the Albanian, the Georgian teams. All that. They all have players that end in itch. We have a player that ends in itch too. He's a proper footballer. He's going to probably get a zero shits endorsement when America win the Copa. You've got me believing again. I'm all the greater for it. Where are you watching the game, Brenny?
The U.S. game, I'm going to watch it right here in my house, and probably alone. Well, no, I think the 3-month-old will be in my arms, and he'll get a learning in vocabulary that day. And I'm not quite sure where my 3-year-old will be. Probably driving somewhere.
Just cruising around
around. He's so independent.
With the windows down.
He goes to Montessori. Like we just let him do what he wants to do. It's all fine.
By the way, I think it's probably, in all seriousness, the only way to parent. Just have your kid cruising around, windows down, listening to some logins, Danger Zone, and got to make your own mistakes in life.
There's nothing more American.
There's nothing more American to freedom. Can we get a score prediction before we let you go?
I'm gonna go 3-0 US. And I'm being conservative.
Who you starting up top, by the way?
I'm coming around to the notion that I've seen, Charlie Davis and some people say, which is for this tournament, for the way we play, Pepe is your starter, Balogun is your magic off the bench. And then before I go, since we were talking so much about U.S. press, just a real quick word of isn't it too bad that we don't have Grant Wall here this summer? That thought just keeps crossing my mind. Wanting to read what he has to say about it. I want to just check in with him in general. Still a great loss that we had during the last World Cup. And sidebar, his family's put out a collection of his works called World Class. Go check that out. But it's Grant Wall. It's a fucking shame he's missing this.
It's a collection of his writing, a beautiful collection to his memory as a gentleman that was real pioneer of that whole world of football journalism that we spent a lot of time talking about with the great French-American David, to Grant's memory, to Grant's book. To you, Brenny, go and do your thing. Go and have your weekend. Go and save it every second. 3-0, and I'm being conservative. Bite your arm off. Go. And I'm going to wrap this up. You're a beautiful man, Brendan Hunt.
Hey, Rod, USA.
God bless. Courage. Quickly, here's a quick look at everything else coming up from the Men in Blazers World Headquarters this week. We are doing it live every night for the next 5 with guests like our mate, John Green, coming on after USA Bolivia. That 3-0 victory, it is known, predicted by the great Brenny Hunt. Daniel Story coming on tomorrow to catch us up on the Euros. We're going deep on all things Euros, all things Copa. All of it's made possible by the GFOPs at BMW. So a huge, massive thank you to them. If you missed last night with Ariel Helwani, the King of Canada, it's available here on YouTube and our pod feed. Go and give it a little listen. Just a beautiful bloke. And a quick shout out for Men in Blazers Early Kickoff. Sammy James and the entire EKO crew broadcast this podcast from Germany, bringing you all the big news direct from Deutschland. It's on a different pod feed than regular Men in Blazers. It's on Early Kickoff, so go and find it. Search Men in Blazers Early Kickoff. Smash that subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, after the European Games, with the one and only Daniel Story, who I love. Until then, GFOPs, this is Rog saying dream dreams of American glory. Huge, huge love. Kung Fu fighting America and courage.